In 2003, the government had introduced a free primary education in our public schools. So we as APHRC went out there to find out, okay, how are various populations, communities responding to the introduction of a free primary education? We looked at informal settlements, so that's Korogosho and Viwandani here in Nairobi, and we also looked at Jericho and Harambee, they were formal. And we tried to compare how households are responding to this. One of the things that came out very, very strongly was over time, between 2003 and 2012, we started seeing a shift from public schools back to low-cost private schools. Meaning children are leaving public schools and going back to where they are paying fee. And the question was, why is that?
Kulingana na population maybe yenye tuko nayo katika hii area yetu, shule mbili za serikali haziwezi hold watoto wote wa viwandani. So kuna hizi shule zingine zenye maybe ni private, ama tuseme ni zenye tunasemaga informal, zenye watoto wetu pia huanga wanakuwa accommodated na wanaendelea na masomo.
Mimi napendelea watoto wangu wasomee kwa private kwa sababu hii shule ya serikali ni watoto ni wengi sana, hasa hapa Kiruka ni shule ni moja pekee yake ya serikali.
You see, back then when I was in primary school, public schools were the only options that we had. So probably they were kind of enjoying that monopoly, which made them to be a bit reluctant not to grow other sectors of the school. Some private schools even partner with other organizations that provide other things. The schools have a very good feeding program for the children. But now when you look at the public schools, there is not much that is growing. In fact, if you look around the whole country, you realize that the schools with the worst facilities are the public schools.
Kitambo bedhe tulikuwa watu wengi, we around class moja tulikuwa around 16 students. Na hapo kila mtu lazima atake ile attention ya teacher.
To find a parent leaving this institution and other public institutions, because all of them have been supplied with the textbooks and the teachers, and you find somebody leaving that good school, what government has done, going to the private just because of a few promises and assurances, which may be true or not true.
Shule ya government iko na space, mahali pa kuchezea, iko na environment yake kwa mtoto ni very accommodative na tuseme very friendly. Kikuja ni mambo ya masomo, sababu utapata structure yenyewe, infrastructure shule imejengwa vizuri, classrooms ni big, wako na enough teachers sababu wao wanapewa walimu na serikali. Unaona sasa utapata most of the time ikifika ni wakati wa break time, watoto wako na mahali pa kuchezea. Lakini unaona shule zetu hizi za community, maybe hata amerentishwa hiyo shule, so utapata most of the time watoto hawana playing ground.
Ukiingia katika shule za serikali utapata kuna chakula mahali pale, lakini kwa shule za kimsingi chakula ni nadra, inakuwa ni challenge.
Quality education, number one, it can be improved if at all we can get enough infrastructure. If you get enough classroom that can accommodate the population we are absorbing, it will be okay. We can also ensure there is quality education if we shall have enough staffs. You find that most private schools or community schools, they don't have the capitation to employ qualified teachers. So eventually in some of our schools, people end up having their relatives to offer teaching services. So for effective quality teaching, there must be enough funds to support these schools.
The ministry should also be able to know that what happens in these private schools, so that the teaching and the monitoring of the delivering of the curriculum is done in a way that they do in the public schools.
Kenya naweza penda shule yetu ichange ikue, shule yetu ipanuliwe, tukue na kiwanja mzuri, grass zinamea, wanakata hizo flowers zimeshwekwa, tukue na kitchen garden, hata wanafunzi na desk tutaongezewa.
Ingekuwa na change shule, ningependa kwenda Nginyumu, na hiyo shule ni public, na napenda hiyo shule kwa sababu wanafunzi ni wengi na kuna masomo huko na walimu huko ni wazuri.
How can we make those children access public schools? Those children would probably want to go to neighboring public schools, not necessarily the ones that are within the slums, because they also have their own challenges. So to get them there, you need something like transport, for example. So a busing system would do very well to take them to those schools not very far from the informal settlements, but in the neighborhood of the informal settlement, but probably outside the informal settlements and the public schools of their choice.
Kuna shule zingine kuna wanafunzi wadogo, na sisi tuko hapa Korokocho, watoto hapa ni wengi. Tungeomba kama tungepata watoto tupelekewe shule ya Buruburu, Langata, kama iko na gari wanatuchukulia watoto wanatupelekea huko, kama shule iko na security mzuri, ile shule na form mzuri na iko na max mzuri, tunatarajia mazuri inshallah.
Some of these children, they don't have books, they don't have what we call writing materials, they don't have textbooks. So for instance, if a teacher gives homework, the child faces a lot of challenges to do the homework simply because he or she doesn't have textbooks. So I will make sure that, first of all, the capitation money is invested in the child.
The next solution that we thought that we could discuss with the policy audience is what we call conditional cash transfer. And there are ways to look and see that, yes, the conditions have been met and therefore let's release the cash to the households. That kind of thing can be replicated in FPE so that parents are able to buy materials, for example, teaching and learning materials. They can be able to buy uniforms, they can be able to support their children, and then their children can be able to attend the low-cost private schools. APHRC would be more than happy to partner and to work with the stakeholders, to work with the policy audience, to actually do assessments, to actually do impact evaluation, to actually provide evidence on how well the process is working, so that they can continue improving it using evidence, continue making decisions based on evidence, and we can do that. We'll be more than happy to do these kind of things and work with the stakeholders. Education is an equalizer. It will take those children who live in informal settlements from the situation in which they are in to a better situation, not only for them, but also for their families.
Community schools zenye tuko nazo si ati ni mambo na biashara. Wanatusaidia ku accommodate watoto wenye hawawezi toshea zile za government zenye tuko nazo.
Take your children to public schools. The head teachers are ready to receive them.
The child in an urban school deserves the same investment the child from the public school is getting.
Education is the key that will open the dreams of the children in Kenya.
Watoto wa private school na watoto wa public school wote ni watoto wa serikali.
Let us all ensure that those children are accessing and can access quality education.